Good morning. My name's Mason. I'm from Bonsai at the Bay. I'm here this morning just to pot up a bonsai for you today, and or for myself and for you, just to show you how to do it. I've got myself a little oak tree, probably about 6 or 7 years old. I grew it from seed, and had a fair bit of training over the years. I've obviously got a fair bit of curve with the trunk, so I've obviously wired that at some stage. And I've just wired the branches this morning. And what the wire does, it allows you to shape the branches into the direction that you like. But we'll go into wiring another time. But it's really just about forming a structure of the tree. Whether or not it's a nice shape, that's all up for argument. But today's goal is to pot this tree. Black plastic pot, normal sort of size, 6 inch, and we want to try to probably get it into a bonsai pot, maybe a bit big, maybe a bit small, maybe about right, but look, we've got to sort of see what matches as well. So we're aiming to get it into a bonsai pot of some sort. Now the main thing is with when you're root pruning is you need to keep a really good amount of roots to feed the tree. We can reduce the root ball quite a lot, but yeah, we've really got to look after the roots as well. Okay, using very technical pieces of equipment to start opening up the root ball, such as a fork, and we just want to remove about the bottom third of the root ball, but we also need to sort of check what we're doing so to make sure that we're not attacking the roots too heavily. So we've got to take our time a little bit, just knocking out some of the loose stuff. Now, once I've gone through, I'm just going to trim around the edge and trim through the centre using a sharp pair of scissors. And I've hit a fairly hard root there. There we go, there it is. And I've reduced the root ball by about a third to a half, probably a little bit more than a third, but that has still got quite a lot of good roots in it, a good lot of healthy roots. And get rid of that. And what I just want to do is just open up this root ball, and I'm going to try to encourage the roots over the next couple growing seasons to grow outwards. We want them sort of heading out rather than heading down. So we're trying to eliminate any big roots that are going down and try to keep the roots that are going out to the side. Now, here's one of those main roots there. It's quite a large thick root, and that would be feeding a fair bit of the tree, but we really don't want that too low. So I'm just going to prune that a little bit. And there's lots of little roots coming off that, and I can see that there's still lots and lots of roots in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around the edge and give a tiny little prune just to the tips, just to make sure that the prune marks have got a nice sharp cut mark on them rather than a crushed root. Now that might look fairly drastic, but believe it or not, that's all roots in that ball, and that will be more than enough to feed the tree up. Now this being getting midwinter, it's also a good time to do this because there's not too many demands on the root ball at the moment. I'm just taking off a couple of the older leaves just to help balance the amount of roots that I've taken off, just to balance up with the amount of energy that the tree needs currently. I think we might try that nice little small pot. No, it's not big enough. No, that looks quite nice. So I always just look at the tree in the pot first, and then match, and then just go bit big, bit small. I'm going to try this one and see how it looks. Bit of dirt on the pot. Alright, so to pot up, we need some mesh. So you can get a bit of mesh. I'll cut a little piece off that mesh, and that'll cover the hole in the bottom of the pot, so your soil doesn't fall through. I'll put a little bit of soil. I'll better show you my soil mix. My soil mix is a mix of diatomite, pine chips, so organic matter, some aggregate and some osmocote, which is a slow release fertiliser. So I'll put a little bit of that in the bottom of the pot, and then I'll place the bonsai in. Now what I'm trying to do is I try to get the apex, which is the top of the tree, in the centre of the pot. Okay, so I'd be trying to get this part of the tree right in the centre, so that there's a bit of balance with it going off the trunk line's not going straight up and down in the middle of the pot. It sort of goes off to the side, and then it comes back towards the middle of the pot, gives a bit of balance. So we've got a left branch, a right branch, a back branch, a right branch top. Hopefully we'll get another left branch out here eventually. From that we get into the pot, we get some soil, we get it around the top. We get a very technical piece of equipment such as a bamboo stick, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to we are gently pushing the soil down around the root ball, and we're trying to incorporate the soil, the new soil, amongst the old soil and the older root ball. So there's a mix of old and new in the pot. Just pressing that down a little bit, maybe a little bit more soil. Now what I'm going to do with this is, once I've got the soil around the root ball, is I'm going to submerge it in some water, just for the first watering, just to incorporate the soil together. I don't normally water by submerging. I always water from the top down with a hose or a watering can, but I'm just going to submerge. The bucket's actually behind you. Just going to submerge it in a bucket of water for a couple seconds, and there's lots of air bubbles coming out of the soil at the moment, just where the soil is mixing. I'll take it out and you'll see there's lots of water on the top of the soil, and then it'll just disappear into the mix. And that shows a good free draining soil, and here comes the water just dripping out the bottom of the pot, and that shows that you've got enough water all the way through the pot. Now that realistically won't need watering for quite a while now, because the tree, I've cut off quite a lot of the roots, but you do obviously need to go back to a normal watering routine of checking every day. Stick your finger in the soil. If it's wet, leave it alone. If it's sort of halfway between wet and dry, you give it a good water, just to be on the safe side, and obviously you don't want it drying out. Yeah, so that's how you pot a bonsai. I hope it was helpful, and we'll catch up soon.